lifestyle change and mindset adjustment concerning your old favorite unhealthy foods. While you have made great strides into changing your life and your issues with food, it is much too soon to play games with the program. Please trust me when I say to you that if you begin to find legal ways to go around the guidelines, you sabotage your efforts and risk achieving long-term success. After you reach your right weight and begin your continuance phase, you will be better equipped to decide whether or not to include healthy chips in your transformed lifestyle. Here's a similar question. Now that we can have a baked potato, can we cut them into wedges and oven fry them? Remember what I just said about chips? Again, I must ask you to examine your mindset toward potatoes cut into wedges. Are you motivated by a desire for oven fries or French fries? If so, the answer again is no. Once your potato is baked or boiled, you can cut it into any shape you wish before you eat it, unless you have French fries in the back of your mind. Check your motivation and be honest with yourself. For now, it is best to follow the guidelines just as they are written for you. Here's a question we all will benefit from hearing. I am doing great on the program, but now that I'm entering phase 2, I'd like some suggestions about how to order when eating in restaurants. I am a little afraid since I really don't know the ingredients they put into the food I am eating. Can you help me? Great question. Unfortunately, we can never be completely sure exactly how a restaurant prepares its food. However, in this day and age, eating out is very much a part of the American lifestyle, so we'd like to help you by offering some suggestions. First, I'd like to recommend an excellent audio tape by author and nutritionist Jane Bankendorf. Please check the PRISM Weight Loss Program's website at pwlp.com to order this helpful tape on the subject of eating in restaurants. Next, we strongly recommend that you completely avoid cafeterias and smorgasbords. And finally, we'll continue our training now with tips on ordering in different types of restaurants. Armed with this advice, we encourage you to go out, do the best you can, and enjoy yourself.
Before you order any restaurant fare, don't hesitate to ask your server how a certain dish is prepared. Let him know that you want to be very careful about your food choices. By expressing a need and asking for help, you set the stage for him to solve the problem, bringing him over to your side. Don't be rude, but also don't be afraid to boldly ask for what you want. The restaurant business is very competitive these days, and most are very accommodating. After all, they want you to have a positive dining experience, so you'll be a happy, repeat customer. When dining at a steakhouse, order your meat, fish, or fowl broiled, grilled, or baked, never fried or breaded. Avoid sauces and gravies. Start your meal with a fresh green or spinach salad with dressing on the side. Ask your waiter to please remove the bread if it is made with white flour or if it creates a temptation for you. Order fresh steamed vegetables as a side dish. If you've planned ahead, enjoy some rice or a small baked potato. Do not even look at the dessert tray or menu. Order a nice hot cup of herbal tea after dinner, then relax and enjoy the conversation with your dining companions. At Mexican restaurants, always ask the waiter to please remove the chips. You don't need to smell them or look at them while you wait for your entree. Enjoy a tostada salad, but ask the waiter to please have your tortillas steamed instead of fried, and be careful with the cheese. Other good choices include steak or chicken fajitas and chili verde. Remember to limit yourself to 2 steamed corn tortillas. Limit the sour cream and guacamole and opt for fresh salsa instead. Dining in Italian restaurants can be difficult for carbohydrate-sensitive people, but it can be done. Again, start with a fresh green salad and ask the waiter to remove the white refined bread from the table. Good menu choices here include veal or meatballs prepared without breadcrumbs. You may also order fresh fish or chicken without breading, and lots of vegetables as a side dish. Some Italian restaurants do offer rice, so ask your waiter if it's available. When it comes to Chinese food, you'll find many wonderful choices. Stir-fried meat and vegetable combinations make a delicious, nutritious meal. You may also savor broccoli beef, black bean chicken, and shrimp that has not been breaded or deep fried. In fact, be sure to pass on anything fried, including wontons, and stay away from the sweet and sour sauce. Chinese restaurants almost always freshly prepare their soups, meats, steamed rice, and vegetables. Just ask your server to inform the cook not to use MSG. Believe it or not, you can eat in a fast food restaurant, as long as it serves teriyaki rice bowls, salads, or grilled chicken sandwiches. Be aware that the rice bowls often contain more than 1 cup of rice, and the teriyaki sauce may be loaded with sugar. Ask for no teriyaki sauce, please, and substitute your own low-sodium soy sauce instead. Also, most commercial salad dressings contain too much sugar and hydrogenated fat, and the chicken sandwich will have to be eaten without the bun. As you can see, it's probably best to avoid fast food restaurants. You cannot be sure how the food was prepared, and the temptations can be overwhelming. If you're in a hurry, just remember that God has provided us with perfect prepackaged fast foods in the form of fresh fruits and vegetables. You are far better off with God's fast food than with anything food corporations can offer. An apple, banana, carrots, and celery come ready to eat in their own God-given packages. Now that's fresh, wholesome, nutritious fast food. For more information on eating out, I'd like to again give you the opportunity to purchase Jane Benkendorf's tape. You can reach her at area code 405-341-4545, P.O. Box 1828, Edmond, Oklahoma 73083. You will also find ordering information on our PRISM Weight Loss Program website at pwlp.com. Jane also has some great ideas when it comes to grocery shopping. Tony has asked Jane to come and share with us some of her helpful hints. Please welcome author and nutritionist Jane Benkendorf as she discusses the subject of misleading food labeling.
Hi everyone, one of the things that we're going to talk about today is misleading labeling. And I want to ask you, how many of you have ever read a label for the fat content? Hold up your hand. Everyone. How many of you think you're pretty good at reading labels? Okay, just some of us, not all of us. I understand. We are going to look at some products today for the fat content, and I want to see how good you really are. You familiar with Promise? Promise margarine. It says Promise Ultra 70% less fat than margarine. Let's see how much fat it has. Per serving, now remember we pay attention to that serving size. Per serving, 30 calories, okay? Listen to this. Calories from fat, 30. You don't have to be a math genius to figure out this is 100% fat, okay? 100% fat. Now, look at another one. And I happen to pick this one up, but remember that olive is always a good choice, olive oil, all right? But this is Pam, fat-free. I mean, there is no fat in this. But remember, we're talking about serving sizes? What do you think the serving size is here? Talk to me. You know you've read the label. Most people don't know that, and I love it because I hear a tablespoon. And I'm thinking, oh boy, a teaspoon? I love this when they say, and they say serving size about 1/3 second spray. About 1/3 second spray. Do you know if you take a stopwatch and you do that, that is more than 1/3 of a second? It's about 1/3 of a second. Yes. Let me back up to this one. Margarine, And butter? Which is a better choice? Butter. Hey, you're right, butter. I like to say any food that is close to the way God made it, that's the way we need to eat it. God didn't make margarine. Another thing, oh, well, in fact, let me give you a recipe. This is my recipe I just love. It's a butter mix. You take a pound of butter, the real thing, you put it in your blender and let it set at room temperature until it softens. Then you add 2 cups of oil. Now, if you're using olive oil, use cold pressed, the extra virgin, okay? That's absolutely the best. And sometimes I trade off, sometimes I use sunflower oil, cold pressed, because it's high in vitamin E. But it's 1 pound of butter, 2 cups of oil. Whip that up and pour it back in those ugly margarine tubs, okay? Now, what you have is half the saturated fat of butter. Now, keep in mind, it's still 100% fat, and let me caution you, this is going to taste so good, you're going to be tempted to overeat it. We're talking, when we talk butter and fats, we want to use a small amount. Okay, so remember, it tastes good, so don't overeat it. It's still 100% fat, but it has half the fat, half the saturated fat of butter, half the cholesterol of butter, which butter doesn't have that much cholesterol anyway, but it has half of it, but it also has none of the trans fatty acids that are formed whenever you make margarine. Anyone familiar? Have you heard of trans fatty acids? Those are bad guys. We don't want those. When you take an oil and you harden it to make it into a margarine, trans fatty acids are formed. And scientists have known for years that our body cannot handle trans fatty acids. But the last few years they've discovered one of the things that trans fatty acids do, destroy the good cholesterol and increase the bad. So butter is always a better choice than margarine, and I like that butter mix. And besides, you know, when you take butter out of the refrigerator, it's kind of like a block. You know, it's pretty hard. This is so soft, you just take it out and spread it. It's wonderful. So give that a try. This product says free, which we know what it means. What does it mean? Fat-free. Don't have to pay for it. Don't we wish? Afraid not. The reason I have this is because of an additive, a preservative that's in here called EDTA. How many of you have ever heard of EDTA? I want to see your hands. Okay. Okay. A couple of us have. EDTA is a chelating agent. And because of that, it attracts metals. That's its purpose. That's what it does. A chelating agent attracts metals. Why would that be put in our food, do you think? Sounds kind of funny, doesn't it? Imagine this. Imagine you're going to bake a cake, and you're going to take this Pam, or your nice new butter you've made, and it's a stainless steel pan, and you're going to rub that pan with a white paper towel and rub that butter over in it. And you turn your paper towel over. What color is it? Silver. It's gray, silver, dingy gray. What is that? Metal. It's the metal off of that stainless steel pan. Same thing happens when our food is processed. It's processed in big stainless steel vats. So some of that stainless steel comes off into the product, and we like our foods white and bright and pretty and so forth. So chelating agents are put in here. EDTA is put into our foods to attract that metal. Now, what happens when we eat foods with EDTA? Does it attract the metals as well? Sure it does. What are some metals that we have in our bodies that we must have for good health? Let's name them. What are they? Magnesium, zinc, copper, iron, and somebody said the biggie, calcium. Most people don't realize that calcium is a metal. I feel like that's one of the reasons we have so much osteoporosis in America, is because we have so much EDTA in our foods. Now, if we get it once in a while, I don't see a major problem, but it's the fact that it's in so many of our food products, and we eat them day after day after day. And yes, it can be a problem. When you go home, in fact, please look in your cabinets, your refrigerators, your freezers, and see how many products you have that contain EDTA. I'm going to show you some more. Canned legumes. Check your canned beans. Pinto beans, navy beans, whatever. Check them. And you'll see, capital letters, look for it, EDTA. Look for it. This is a new product that has just come out. Sizzle and stir. We like things quick and easy, right? So we're going to go get something like sizzle and stir, EDTA. It's in so many of our food products. Packaged ones, canned ones, salad dressings, you name it. So when you go home, check your refrigerators and your freezers and cabinets and see if you can find EDTA. I bet you can. Now, there is a process that's called chelation therapy, and I do want to address that. That is the whole purpose of it. EDTA is dripped directly into the vein to attract the metals, primarily calcium, what is clogging the arteries. Does a magnificent job, but remember that the physician adds back the metals that have been taken out. So chelation therapy is excellent. Okay. And I did want to point that out because there's a difference between EDTA in our products and chelation therapy. Okay. Now then, let's move right along to bread. Look at these breads. I want you to see these. Do you have this Grant's Farm stone ground wheat in your stores? Do you have Oro wheat, 100% whole wheat? Look at this bread. Look at this loaf. Doesn't this just look wonderful? It has the sprinkling of some type of grain on top. It's brown. Hey, it's brown. Looks whole wheat. There is a picture of a farm with the red barn and the silo and the wheat field in front. I mean, this has got to be good, right? Got to be good. And it says stone ground. Many, many people purchase this bread and others like it thinking they're buying whole wheat. I say it's not. How do I know? Read the ingredients. What are the ingredients going to tell me? Okay, let's read. First ingredient in here is water. That's listed. Second ingredient, enriched flour. Is that whole wheat? Do you know that many people think it is because of that word enriched? And I say, folks, anytime you see that word enriched, know you've been robbed, okay? In fact, up until, the last 2 years, we have had, whenever wheat is processed and it becomes the white stuff, 4 vitamins and minerals have been added back. Do you know that now there's an extra one? There are now 5? Because all of a sudden, it has been decided that, my goodness, we are not as healthy as we should be because we don't have all the nutrients in the bread that we need, and we just need 1 more. So we're going to add back folic acid. So now we have 5 in our enriched bread. There are absolutely thousands of wonderful things in whole wheat. Phytochemicals, vitamins, minerals, you name it. When we process that whole grain, we take the majority of that out and add 5 back in, and we call that enriched. Afraid not, you're right, it is not enriched. What we want is the whole food. Anytime we buy anything made of a grain, and this is, first, let's read the ingredients. You know, we don't take, in fact, don't take the manufacturer's word for it. Just because it says something on the front or the side or the back. You read the ingredients, and then if you're not sure, call them. They don't know whether you're with the FDA, the USDA. They have to be honest with you. You know, they don't know who you are. They might be somebody checking up on you. Okay. On them. First ingredient, whole wheat flour. This is it. Any time that you look for a grain product, what is the one word you look for? You guys are really smart. I'm impressed. Yes. Whether it's corn, You know, we can buy a package of cornmeal and it says, oh my goodness, it might say stone ground, it might say unbromated, it might have all these fancy words on it, but it's missing that one little one, whole. That is the key. What about pasta? What do we look for when we look for pasta? Talk to me. What do we look for? Whole, okay. Okay, many times the label will say durum, okay? It will say semolina. It may say durum semolina. I mean, golly, this sounds real Italian and good, right? The one word it may be missing, and it's whole. That is the key word, is whole. So anytime we are shopping for anything made with grain, the word whole must be there, or we are absolutely depriving our bodies of nutrients.
I'm sure you'll join me in thanking Jane. No doubt she's given you some helpful hints to use while shopping for food. I hope by now you recognize the importance of reading food labels. How else can you know what you're putting into your body or into the bodies of the loved ones for whom you prepare food? Food chemicals, hydrogenated fats, and artificial dyes are hazardous to our health. We can all become better detectives when shopping for food for ourselves and our families.
We're a busy family because I travel for work and I also travel for children. We try and eat healthier now than we used to, and I think what we used to do was the lazy way. So this takes a little planning and a little forethought, and you can do quite a bit with a half-cup measuring cup in your purse. So the trick is to kind of plan and not do things as lazy as you used to do them, and recognize that you have options and choices wherever you go. I travel quite a bit and have lunch with different people that I work with, and so now we're choosing restaurants that offer salads and the salad dressing on the side, and we're looking at low-fat, healthy menus. It's amazing that most of the restaurants do offer food choices that will certainly fit most general diets. Even Mexican food restaurants have the healthy beans, and I'm thrilled to be in phase 2 and able to eat a corn tortilla. The bread we will pass up any day of the week. We don't care about bread, but the corn tortillas, I am just thrilled. Today for lunch I had leftover fajitas, so that worked real well. When I decided that, yes, I would weigh myself, I was anxious, and I knew I would be disappointed because I felt so much better. I knew that I should have lost at least 75 pounds. Possibly more, but when the scale only said 14, I was frustrated that it didn't say more. However, because I felt so much better and realized this is a long-term process, I certainly didn't gain 14 pounds in 6 weeks. I've been a really consistent, slow creeper-upper person. So to be able to say, oh, in 6 weeks I've lost 14 pounds, but I feel so much better, and I have people noticing, that's been a nice spurge for forward. But the one thing that's important is this isn't just for 6 weeks, and it's just not for the next 6 weeks. This is something we need to do for the rest of our life. Healthcare issues are a huge, huge concern, and if you can do something to help forestall some of the different aging processes, that's a real boon. Without the scripture reading, I think, is the one that I find the most helpful. Without the scripture reading, I would maybe not be as focused and maybe would be more tempted. So I appreciate the scripture reading. I applaud anybody that can lose weight, just as I applaud our little scrawny ladies that need to gain weight and do. So we all recognize their different issues. One thing that I've learned about myself through the program is that, as I mentioned earlier, I have been kind of a lazy eater. I have some long hours, and when I come home, I'm not real keen about being Little Miss Homemaker and jumping in the kitchen and whipping up a big, huge dinner for everybody. So it was really easy to say, gosh, I think it's Taco Tuesday. Let's go do tacos. So now we're being a bit more stringent about our planning. We're being conscientious about our calorie choices. So if we choose to go out, we're making the most of those calories. We're not just going out and just having whatever. We're also saving money. As I said, my husband and I are now eating one meal, we're sharing it, and we even took home, of course the platter was huge, took home some leftovers. So our one meal actually fed us for 4, because then we added a teeny bit more to